You are now entering the hate-proof zone! Greetings, dudes and dudettes, and everything in between. Welcome to the only program that is completely 100% hate-proof. My name is Chris, and I am funky. Coming straight to you by the light of the fires of hell for the 5th episode. Thanks to all my new subscribers and to everyone listening. Listen to me rant and ramble while you sculpt, cook, clean, jack off, or whatever it is you freaky freaks do while you let your freak flag fly. I want to start by saying, fuck the Chewbacca Mom. Why the shit is she so fucking popular? I hope she's enjoying her fucking 15 minutes of fame and milking that shit for all it is worth. I can't really talk shit about her. I'd be doing the same damn thing if I were in her shoes. What, you want to pay me to go on talk shows and give me all this free shit and have me at conventions signing autographs for 20 bucks a pop? Where the fuck do I sign? I saw pictures of her appearing at a convention, don't know where it was, but she was at a table next to John Cusack. Who the fuck wants this woman's autograph? She seems like a nice lady and all, but I have better shit to do with my 20 bucks than buy a signed photo of a chick who once laughed in a mask. Seriously. She's famous for smoking a joint of killer weed in a Kohl's parking lot and laughing like the Joker while wearing a mask. That's my theory. Was there Smilax gas inside that mask? Whatever it was, the sales of that mask went through the fucking roof. People are going retarded over this silly bitch. Settle down, everyone. That's why John Cusack has spent his entire fucking career making cool movies like Say Anything, One Crazy Summer, and High Fidelity, and just being fucking awesome so he can appear at a convention and be seated next to the fucking Chewbacca Mom, a one-trick pony who's well known because of a prop. Why don't they just kick him in his John Cusack? They could have sat him next to Larry the fucking Cable Guy and it wouldn't have been as insulting and disrespectful. At least that guy puts some effort into his crappy shit that he does. I can laugh in a mask, especially if it's a gas mask attached to a device that burns marijuana. It's not me making that sound, it's the bong. Give me a fucking break. When I'm done making my mask laughing video, is someone gonna suck my prick and give me a big check? Probably not. Sometimes I think, really? Really, Prince? That's what it sounds like when doves cry? Let me tell you something. If I was hiring people to work at a company that I owned, on my application, I'd have the following question. What kind of pothead are you? A, casual, B, moderate, C, heavy, and D, I smoked 2 joints before I smoked 2 joints, and then I smoked 2 more. I would do this in order to weed out the straights. I don't want anyone working for me that doesn't smoke weed, because if you don't, chances are you're a fucking square. And I don't need that shit. It would totally cramp my style. Alright, who wants to hear a story? Alright. I'm going to regale you with a tale of some crazy shit that happened to me when I was 21 years old. The year was 1998. Let me paint a picture for you. I was invited to do an art show at a local place called the Azelle Charbrough House. There was this woman who had a local public access show that featured the work of local artists. I won't mention her name, but the show was called Art Is. And I thought it would be cool if I could get on that stupid little show of hers and use that as a means of promoting myself and my work. This was back before the internet was really a thing. Certainly nothing like what it's become, where it's so much easier to learn about things and to promote yourself and put information out there for the whole world to have access to. Anyhow, I would watch this fucking show on TV. And it's been many years ago, obviously, but I have a fairly good recollection of the events. I think there must have been some add-on during the show for this event that was coming up or something to that effect. I got a hold of a number to reach this girl at, the host of the show. I think I had to leave a message and have her call me back, but I recall the phone conversation I had with her, and I expressed my interest in being a part of this party event that they were doing. It was just a thing with a bunch of hoity-toity fuckers that show up to drink wine and eat expensive food and look at a bunch of pretentious art. Some of it was pretty good, but as young and dumb as I was, I knew that none of these fucking people were even remotely on the same wavelength as me. Just a bunch of landscapes and fish and birds and lighthouses and shit. I'm not saying that people weren't as talented as I was not very good at the time, and I still don't think I'm that great, but I'm saying that the diversity of the style, my shit wasn't anything like the other things being displayed there. Bowls of fruit, just boring, lame-ass shit. I was into comics and heavy metal, both the music and the magazine. I've always been into the darker aspect of art, so it can be hard when I have to do more commercial shit like children's book illustrations and logos and things. It's just so far removed from the type of non-commissioned work that I normally prefer to do. So they had these waiters that would come around the party in white shirts and black ties that kept coming over to fill up my wine glass. Someone comes up to me and, "Hey, you want a drink?" "Well, hell yes I do, I'm fucking 21. And once I had a glass in my hand, it stayed full. They just kept coming up to me, giving me refills. I haven't even finished the glass half the time, and there's somebody there to top it off. I'm not going to say no to free booze. I was 21 years old. I was having fun. I'd never been to anything like this in my life. It was bullshit, but I was having a good time, making the best of it. I actually had done a painting just for this show because I didn't have anything on hand at the time I could really take with me to display. I was mostly doing portraits of people in pencil at the time, and I hadn't done too many paintings at that point. This was before I ever really got into props and makeups and mask making and such. The only easel I had, being young and poor and very basic, was this big blue display easel that my Uncle Greg let me borrow. I was working with an 11 by 14 canvas, and this easel was meant for a painting quite a bit larger than the one I had done, so that made the picture stand out in an awkward sort of way. It was a painting of a woman's face in three-quarter view with a half of her face cast in shadow, and the other side had a tear of blood dripping from her eye down her cheek. It looked pretty cartoony, pretty fantasy style, pretty far removed from a realistic style. I wasn't a very good painting, but at the time, I guess I felt like it was a decent enough representation of myself as an artist, but it stuck out like a sore thumb from everything else that was there. They also had this guest book for people to sign. I actually got there quite a bit early, about an hour before most other people began to arrive. So I sat down and I drew a picture in the guest book because I was bored and I had nothing else to do while I was waiting for this whole thing to get going. So I drew a picture of Brandon Lee as the Crow with a caption that said, "Believe in the power." The Crow was only 4 years old at this point. "Believe in the power" was a tagline from one of the posters. But in hindsight, it probably wasn't the best thing for me to do. Even if I hadn't drawn that picture or had drawn something else, I doubt it would have changed the course of action very much. I was feeling pretty fucking lit like a Christmas tree by the time I left the party. This girl that hosted the show was so nice on the phone. When she had invited me, she was like, "How old are you?" "I'm 21. "Oh, I think it's great that you're getting out there and trying to promote yourself and all." She was real nice to me. When I met her in person just before the show, she asked me to give her a hand dragging this big box of shit off to the side to put in the storage area, so I helped her with that, and then she was like, "I gotta go get ready for the show. Have fun, I'll see you around." So I had a good time at the party, and when things were winding down and I was getting ready to leave, I went to find her so I could say goodbye and thank her for inviting me, and she was still very pleasant, like, "Thanks for coming, it was nice meeting you," and all that jazz. A very different story when I called her back a couple days after the show. She had a very different demeanor once she realized who she was on the phone with. She proceeded to tell me that she thought I was a very dark, negative person, and she didn't want to associate herself with the likes of me, more or less. She accused me of drawing satanic images in her guest book. I tried to explain to her that it was just a character from a movie, but she wasn't trying to hear what I was saying. She had her mind made up to be dead set against me. She was like, "You drank 2 bottles of wine at my party," which may or may not be true. It wouldn't surprise me if it were. She said something to me to the effect of, "Maybe one day you can learn not to paint pictures of women with blood tears on their faces." So What a fucking cunt. Needless to say, I didn't get to be on that bullshit cable access show. That was my first and last artsy-fartsy shit show. Oh well. I don't want to be associated with those fucking people either. I hope you enjoyed my story. I'll leave you now with a quote from the late great artist Bob Ross. We don't make mistakes, we just have happy accidents. Isn't that the truth? Thanks for listening and have a creative day. Please subscribe and follow me on Twitter if you have nothing better to do. You are now leaving the hate proof zone! Please do not smoke rainforest.